Hi, welcome to actual episode 2. Last time I said episode 2, that was actually episode 1. So, fuck. But, to start us off with, for those who aren't aware, we currently are having a Kagerou Project zine that's currently going on and open for applications. I'll include the link below in the description for anyone who'd be interested in joining, because, at the moment, applications are open, and we will try to do our best and keep it as open-minded as possible. But if people are interested in a print version, then we may have to limit applications. Also, later on this month, there's currently going to be an Ayano week dedicated to the best girl in the series. More information on that will also be included in the description below. But enough about news. Today with me, we have the one and the only Rochi-chan, a very famous, very popular, I would say famous, but, I don't want to put you on the spot. But yeah, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for inviting me. How do I usually go about this? Do I just start talking about myself? Or?
Yeah, you can just introduce yourself.
Alright, hi guys, I'm Rochi-chan. I don't know what to say. It's so weird talking about myself, but I guess in terms of Kagepro, I've been in the fandom for a really long time. Well, I kind of fell out of it recently, but then I came back after additional memory that really brought me back. It was but yeah, so that's why I'm back, and I'm here to talk about the fandom. So yeah.
You were one of the few folks. Would you say you were here from the very beginning, that sort of thing?
I don't know, because it's I can't determine when the beginning of the fandom really started, so I can't, because when was the first song, or when was it really picking up? When Kagerou Days dropped, right? I don't even know.
I would assume so, because that's, again, one of the most popular songs?
Yeah, I feel like that was the one that brought the project to fame. So I don't know if that's when the fandom started, so because I can't put a date, honestly, because I joined 2012, and that's when everyone was still kind of new to it in a way, so we didn't even know where to draw from. I think we were just all there because we all liked the songs, so
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't even remember. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, I guess 2012 was the beginning.
Right. And most of this was usually on Tumblr, right? It wasn't really on any other social media?
Yes, from what I've known, yeah. Because it was I guess, because back then I was super into Tumblr. I think peak Tumblr culture was it was so cringy, and it's so bad to look back at it, and funny to look back at it, but yeah, I met all my Kagepro, I should say, fans and mutuals through there and through Tumblr. So yeah.
Right. And there's a bunch of popular artists too who also used to be part of it. I know people mentioned Skirt-san or
Skirt.
I'm butchering everything from my vague memories of 2012 to 2014. But
yeah.
Well, I was wondering about your initial experiences. What were the first things that you discovered? I know there was a time when we didn't even know what Shintaro's name actually was, or the names of other characters.
Really? Oh wow! I'm really? Did I? It's been so long that I don't remember what I don't remember in the beginning.
It's all good.
I think I'm just gonna start because it's so long ago. That's why I'm trying to backtrack a bit. Man, I should have been Yooms and took notes or something.
Yeah, that's okay. I just remember, maybe it was you or someone else. I remember when there was a post where people looked at, say, the initial design, I believe Shido made it, of Shintaro, and the only way people could tell what his name was by zooming in and seeing his blurred name underneath his character design, and people were like, he has a name, his name's Shintaro. That's so wild to me.
That's crazy. I totally forgot. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I think, are we talking about that scan where they're all lined up kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I don't even remember that post, to be honest, but I just remember everyone being super excited to see oh my goodness, we have designs for each character and stuff like that. And then Azami, I think, when everyone first saw that character design, I was like, who is that? Like, she looked like a little kid back then, I think. So people were like...
She still does.
I mean, yeah, I can't argue that. But I remember everyone was so curious, like, what her part in the story was, because did Shinigami record came out at that time? I don't even remember. But maybe that was, like, the first instance of actually seeing, like, who Shinigami record was about, I think. But I don't even remember. But oh my goodness, talking about, like, scans and names, I can't. I'm getting nostalgic.
What's your earliest Kagepro memory then?
Woo! My earliest Kagepro memory. I am like, okay. Sorry, I gotta think about this. Earliest.
It's all good.
I think I'm just gonna start from like my first instance of when I found out about Kagepro, because that's what I remember.
That's good. That works with
me. Okay, so 2012, I think I was in, oh my goodness, I was in high school, my last year of high school, I think, and I think I was I was still in my Vocaloid phase, I think. So I was like in love with Miku and everyone.
Nice.
Yeah, that you got that weave with I'm the girl with the Hatsune Miku on her school binders. That was the person I was. So I think I was like kind of like exploring different kinds of songs or whatever, and I think I stumbled upon Aya because like I never heard of her. It was all about Miku, Rin, and the basic Vocaloids.
Right.
So when I saw the first actual Kagepro song, shockingly to me, that I found was Headphone Actor. Oh. And that led me to Kagerou Days, and that's when I was like, oh my goodness, this all connects, blah blah blah. Because I was doing the research, because I was like, when I first heard Headphone Actor, I don't know why I liked it, because when I look back, I'm like, why did I like... I mean, okay, the song is good. The song is good. But compared to all the other songs, I do not think it is the best that Jin has ever written. But I was obsessed with Headphone Actor, and then it became Kagerou Days, and then Kagerou Days took over. And that's what led me to Kagerou Project, because I was like researching it. It was so scarce. Information was barely anywhere.
There wasn't even a Wikipedia for it.
There was no Wikipedia. No...
Yeah, I guess we are spoiled now because people tend to make master posts. There's a whole wiki for it. I don't actually know the people who do run the wiki, but I admire their dedication. And yeah, it's a lot easier now. But I mean, a lot of fans are still confused about some general things, like the entire timeline in general, like how things play out, how things connect. It's still somewhat confusing, but I'm not sure if any amount of Wikipedias will really explain it. You kind of have to hunt.
To be honest, like even some of the Wikipedia articles, like from what I read, I don't remember. Like the one about additional memory, there were like things that were kind of said that I didn't even think were confirmed as canon. Like the Wikipedia articles, there was some stuff that I didn't even think was confirmed by canon. Like the additional memory article, someone wrote like a whole summary of the PV, which was really good, but there were things that I was like, was this confirmed? Like Ayano being able to like I forgot. It was something about like her able to like see something, but I don't really remember. But I was just like, we gotta be careful with those Wikipedia articles. But at the same time, everything's still up in the air, so I can't even say that's not canon or whatever. Everyone theorizes, so.
Man, it's so weird though. Like, I just finished high school, but I looked up to you when I was a freshman, so you were a senior at the time.
Oh,
so weird.
It's crazy. What was do you remember your URL? Maybe I've seen you on my feed or something.
I don't know. You're quite a popular artist. I would have been buried under your hundreds of followers.
No, but at the same time, I remember like, what's it called? There's like, I just have too many usernames in my mind right now, but maybe because the feed was so small back then, it was easy to like remember who was there, especially when you see the same names over and over again.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I wasn't really a part of the community. I was more of like an observer. I was more of a consumer of sorts. I never really produced content or applied. I was just like, wow, that shit good! And then I'd hit that reblog, and it was pretty great. So yeah, I wasn't very present, so I was just like, I was chilling. I didn't think I would still be into the series to this day, or that I would start a podcast, but here I am.
Yo, same though. Why are we here? Get us out for real. No, it's okay. I'm honestly enjoying the servers that I've joined. The one Yums and yours. It's really fun to see everyone talk about it. Still, it kind of brings me back in a way. But yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that this podcast so far has been a throwback for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Man, I can't imagine. Especially this episode. Speaking of which, we have quite a few questions that we should look into. Because...
Pull that up.
The first one is by Melody. If you want, we can, take turns, reading the questions out loud and answering. You start and then I do. So, would you like to start off with our first one?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure if this is a person's name, but I'm just gonna say their username. So love is stored in the cat. Question. I love you. Question mark, question mark. Okay, seriously. Thank you. So do you think that the shitty anime is the cause of the fan base having such low numbers in the English fandom right now, or is it just time itself? Do you want me to tackle this first, or do you want to answer first, Danny?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Because you're the one who read it.
Okay, do you think... I think that anime was a big factor of it, because I think that was more of the because the anime caused a lot of negativity around the fandom, to be honest. So it was more of a similar mindset of being very upset and very underwhelmed about the results of the anime. So people were slowly falling off. I don't think that the anime was the main cause of it, because people were still creating content after the anime, because I guess we were so disappointed we were just ignoring it kind of thing. create our stuff. Let's pretend that this never happened. But in the end, it still affected a lot of fans. I'll be honest, it affected me too, because I was like, why did I invest so much time in a series that didn't satisfy me, in a way? So I do not think that the fan base having low numbers, honestly, I don't even think what's it called? It's more of there's people that are still fans, but they're not as active in the community, I guess. So maybe there are fans there that do love Kagepro. They'll come back when a song releases. My whole Twitter feed was alive every time August 15 comes around, or a song drops, or Jin tweets about something.
It's true.
Yeah, there's still fans, but I'm just saying the fan base isn't as active. So I guess the low numbers, because I don't know, maybe it is low numbers. I mean, from what I've seen here in the servers, everyone's still pretty active. But I don't know, maybe that's just me being looking at the positive sides or whatever.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are still fans. Like you said, they're just not as engaged as they might have been. It's still something that we just kind of float back and forth to, especially when something comes up. So I know this is more prevalent on Tumblr and Twitter, which makes me glad that there are a couple of servers for this, because it's really nice I never really felt after 2012 to 2014 there was much of a community. It was just people scavenging on their own, trying to figure out what the heck was going on.
For real. Continuing on that point, I think because Tumblr and Twitter was more, I won't say Twitter because I wasn't really part of that back in the day, but Tumblr was more of because you would just post and then you would post your own thoughts. It wasn't really an interactive social media platform, so I don't think the community really interacted with each other unless there was a special event going on, or unless people created their own private groups kind of thing, or there were super close mutuals that would only talk about it but not with other people within the community. The good thing about these Discord servers, no matter who you are, you could just pop in and say hey, and everyone would be hey kind of thing. So I think that's why there's a difference in how the community is created kind of thing back then compared to back then. But yeah, that's just me being observing and old-fashioned or whatever.
I want to look into Maddie's question, ready, set, go goes, which is, are there any funny theories that you remember from your early Kagepro days?
Let's see. I don't really remember. I can't remember. Give me like a few minutes because I'm trying to remember from the top of my head. I think the one theory that pops up right now is like the one where people wanted what's it called? You know, Wanyan Poo's Kagerou Days PV or whatever.
Yes.
And then she made like her own characters, like the Heat Haze Hibiya or whatever.
Yes.
So they were like theorizing like no, that's an official character. Like they'll show up or something like that. But I guess that's just people being like, you know, like what's it called? Eager just to have that happen or idealizing. But that's just one theory that I remember from the top of my head. What other funny theories?
Like, were there theories about like how the powers worked? If I know that people didn't know that Shintaro had a power for like, again, until the anime came out, but people were like speculating, you know? They're hoping, they're dreaming.
Wow, really? Was it that like it back then? I don't even remember. Wow, really? We didn't even know he had an eye power back then? How did we live?
We filled in the gaps that Jin didn't write in. Which he's currently doing now. He's finally developing more characters, you know?
Yeah.
Especially in this new album. But back in the day, you know, we filled in the gaps ourselves. We were like, why is Shintaro, this normie, and this friend, he has to have something.
I'm sorry, I'm like remembering as you tell me kind of thing. It's so crazy! Because I remember also like the first episode of the anime where they do this like stylistic shot where a shadow is cast over Shintaro, and I took a screen grab of the shadow like covers half his face and his eye is red, and I think that's when everyone started screaming saying like theory confirmed, you know, like he has an eye power.
He has a power. God! His eyes flash red once.
No!
Oh, shit.
Oh my god! For real though, because I don't know if you remember, but when the anime first came out, remember they would stream it live at Nico Nico Doga? Do you remember that or no?
I was little babby, okay? I didn't even know Nico Nico even existed.
Oh wow. But yeah, so there was this mutual that I had in Tumblr. She would always post she would always have an account. She had like this exclusive account to stream the anime, and she would host it on live stream, and she would play the episode, and I remember the chat going crazy when that happened, like saying like, did you see that? Like, did you see the eye? Did you see the or whatever? But maybe my memories are just jumbled and I'm just imagining it, but I think it happened. But I guess that's one.
Or just like people stretching for conclusions. I think I mentioned this earlier, but one of my server members, Sho, who was from the early fandom, maybe not too early, I can't exactly remember how long they've been involved, but they recalled when, I guess it was when the anime or the manga revealed that Kano acted as a stand-in for Ayano during some days. And people thinking that is Ayano even a person? Is she even real? Or has Kano been standing in for her the whole time? Like, you know, those kind of confusing things.
My goodness. I think I was... Back in the day, I think I was like super pissed at that theory. Like I was super pissed because I was like that hardcore Shania fan. Like, how dare you exist the second half of my OTP? Erase the existence of the second half of my OTP. But I think, oh yeah, that theory I still think is kind of like, I don't know if this is, I don't want to be mean, I don't want to say stupid, but I don't think that theory is valid because the whole, how do I say it, the whole plot circulates about Shintaro getting over Ayano's death, and yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into like meta or whatever, but that's why I don't think that theory is valid, because it didn't make any sense. Like,
it doesn't. But at the time, oof.
Like, obviously they both existed. No one read the novels at that time though, so I guess it wasn't really. How did we find out that Kano was standing in for Ayano in the anime? The first time we all found out?
I believe it was part of the plot. Like, Kano talked about I think it was part of the anime, or was it like explicitly stated in the manga, where Kano would be no, that's from the novels. I know the novels came after, they were translated after the anime. I believe it was explicitly said in the novels, but I don't know if that was for sure revealed in the anime or in the manga as well. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, I really don't remember. That's why I'm trying to remember how that theory...
Maddie says it's in both, confirmed.
I think, maybe someone posted, like, snippets of the translation, because remember back in the day, official translation for the novels weren't out yet, so we had, like, fan translators do snippets of it. So I think that's why that theory came out, but that's just me trying to, like, remember. I don't remember. Give me your eye power, Shintaro. I don't remember.
In the anime, it was after her death that... Right! I remember. Sarah tells Kano to fill in for his elder sister's dead corpse after she kills herself, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but in the novels, it's well, she's alive. I'm gonna fight. Why is the series so confusing? We didn't ask for this. I mean, we did, but, ow. Yeah, so they're pretty explicit. It happens at different times for different reasons. But yeah, I remember when Sho told me that. It's so wild because, like, people who really liked Kanoshin were like, yeah, that's right.
That was definitely it, though.
I can't believe shipping war. Oh, dude.
Was it really a war, though? I don't even remember. I think I was just all up in La La Land enjoying my own self.
That's fair. But we can always come back to theories, because I think you'll remember them as we continue on with the rest of the questions.
Very true.
Alright, you can read another question, since I already, the second one.
Okay. So, Sho Minazuki says, the English fandom is very scattered about and much smaller now than at its peak, obviously. But the Japanese fandom and arguably Korean fandom is still going strong. What are your speculations as to why Kagepro didn't get as firm a fan base in Western spheres? So I think that, how do I say this? So there's obviously a stronger, not obviously, I should say there's a set audience already. So Kagepro is made in Japan. Jin is a Japanese man. So obviously the Japanese fandom will have more, I guess, marketing materials, more availability in getting like the novels, the manga, and songs. So I feel like I guess it became more of a stronger community because they always had the stuff in terms of like thinking about it. So let's say since they had most of the stuff, and I guess Korea could be part of that too, Western fandom, it was really hard for us to get information on anything, to be honest, because in 2012 we only had the songs, and then we were just trying to connect the songs together, like how does this connect? Why is Konoha in the He Hates Days? Why is NA and Takane the same person? Oh my goodness, I totally forgot about that. We didn't even know if they were the same person or not.
So
yeah, that's crazy. What else? So basically Western fandom didn't have anything. So I think that's a factor, because if the Western fandom, if the Japanese are getting more the information and the marketing material instantaneously, and it's kind of like delayed for us, I don't know. It's just me like trying to like, because English fandom, because the Japanese fandom, I really don't know much about it. I mean, yeah, there's still fans, but is the fandom really that big compared to the Western fandom right now?
Yes.
Really?
It's very popular in Japan.
Wow. See, so I'm so out of it. Like, I just recently came back to it, so I'm not really paying attention. It's like, I know this is kind of off topic, but in the Japanese fandom, they're like, still creating content or stuff, or like talking about the novels. Like, what is keeping them going right now? Like, just the songs also?
Yeah, plus the latest novel came out, and people are anticipating the end of the manga, which is going to happen soon. But people still consider, like, 2012 to 2014, the peak of the fandom, despite not having all the resources that we do have today. What do you think made the time period like so popular? What made the series so appealing despite it not making a lick of sense for most people?
Back in the day, I mean, maybe because people were just so curious. Because I think how do I say this? What Jin did with like Vocaloid songs, I don't think anyone else did it. It was more of a trend because there was also other Vocaloid series going on. What was it called? The one with the pink girl? Because, you know, like, Vocaloid producers would start creating their own original series through Vocaloid songs. So that's why I think how Jin did it, it was very consistent. And when he came out with the music, so everyone was always curious about, like, how does this installment connect? How does this installment connect? And how does this installment connect? So I think that's what kept us going. And that's why the fandom was, like, always, like, trying to find the answers. And every time we posted something, it was, like, getting closer to the answer, but at the same time we didn't realize we were never getting closer to the answer, just asking more questions. But
so it's just like one big goose chase, essentially.
I guess. I mean, this is just me, like, personally thinking about it. I'm not sure about the answer about fandom because I guess because when you look back at it, yeah, I guess it was peak back in the day. I mean, you can't really argue that. What was the question? Let me see if I answered it.
Why do you think it wasn't as
firm? Okay,
as prevalent over here?
So So I guess my first point is consistency. So like I said, there's still merch going on for Japan. Like, they're still able to buy stuff, and we're still struggling to even, like, I remember being so pissed because it was so hard to get Kagepro merch back in the day. Like, they would always release these cute charms and stuff, and then we get, like, it a year later, and it's, like, very old, and I'm like, I want the latest stuff kind of thing. I think that's what was, like, the struggle with me. So, yeah, consistency in terms of, like, marketing and promotional materials. But I don't know. That's just me, like, pulling up stuff, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure, I think it's because I'm not sure if they really considered or really thought about the Western fandom at the time. I mean, they didn't translate the novels before the anime. Fans had to do translations on their own before they actually started releasing the manga. I think the manga started being officially translated after the anime as well, or shortly before. I don't exactly recall. But I don't think they really thought about it until after the anime, which is kind of ironic because that's when, again, the English fandom kind of took a left turn and depleted at 50%.
Oh my goodness, I remember that too, because I think when I saw the official announcement of getting an official translation, I think I was just so numb to Kagepro at the time. I was like, eh. But now that I'm back in, it's crazy.
I think, they were a bit late. Just a bit late. If they did it before, maybe the drop wouldn't have been so severe because the anime would make more sense and we had access to the novels, and there'd be other things to capture our attention besides Crunchyroll's weekly updates in which we all look at shadows on people's heads and then try to make theories out of that.
It's very true. You know what I remember, though, about the Japanese fandom? I think what I remember about the Japanese fandom was, like, what I said, there was that person who would always host the live stream where the anime was airing at the same time in Japan. I think we all united because they did, every time the end of the episode would happen on Nico Nico Doga, there was like a vote that fans could say, like, how did you like the quality of this episode? And it would be like, very good, good, and bad, and very bad. And I remember specifically the Ayano one, the one with
the shitty CG intro.
Yeah, the Japanese fandom, I think it was like an overwhelming percentage that they voted it was very bad. Like, the episode itself was very bad. And I was just like, that is insane and very sad, but that was very vivid in my mind.
I know a lot of people, like, they think about it in, like, grimace, but I don't know. I feel like that's the most unity we've ever had, this taste for the CG. I don't know, it's so good. I mean, looking back at it, I can laugh, but I can see why people were frustrated with it at a time, especially with such an iconic song.
It is. I really get pained when I think about it, because it's just like, whatever. Everyone has the same feelings, so.
It's just, she needed to glow up, childhood Ayano. No, current Ayano.
Hey, they made it up in the Blu-ray though, so I can't complain.
It's true, it's a lot better. It's a lot more polished. It's prettier than the actual series. It's very nice. They really made it up in that department. So I'll look into Sonota's question, which is, do you think Jin acknowledges the English-speaking side of the Kagepro fandom? I don't really think so. I feel like it's more of like maybe his marketing team that actually reaches out to the English fandom and translates, but otherwise, he's just creating what he loves, He's just doing his thing. Do you think he cares? Do you think he is? No. He's just... I don't think he thinks much about it. I mean, maybe he, thinks about, offhandedly, oh man, there are people on the other side of the planet who listen to my music, that's pretty cool. But otherwise, I don't really think he pays much attention to it, because he doesn't really need to. Again, his series is really successful in Japan. He's pretty much set. He doesn't need to go out of his way to make sure his English audience is, as engaged as his homeland fandom is, so he doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, he really doesn't. Trying to remember if we, if the Western fandom back in the day, I feel like we've tried to make our interactions with Jin back in the day, because of course we wanted to show our appreciation and stuff like that. I think there was a thing called a summertime collage or whatever. Back in the day, a bunch of artists were invited to create art, and we're gonna send it to Jin or something, and everyone did it. A lot of people did it. But when I was looking back at my old Tumblr, I'm like, did this even get sent in? Did Jin even see this? I don't even know. Nothing was confirmed. I find it so funny though. I think it was a cute idea, the summertime collage thing, but I don't even know if Jin even said anything about it.
So it's like a zine, essentially, the first Kagepro zine, and nobody even knows what happened to it.
I guess.
That's kind of sad.
I know, right? It's you can see the art though. It's pretty cute. There's a lot of pieces that I was like, wow, I can't.
I'll look into that.
The Tumblr blog is still live, so.
Oh, noted. I'll look into that then. Would you like to look at Ricker's question, who just managed to tune in not too long ago?
Oh, Ricky, hello. Oh wait, I'm reading it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That's all good.
In the English fandom... Oh, this is a question by Ricker. In the English fandom, I fondly remember the KP fandom was pretty small, and everyone took pride at the fact that it was like a family. That despite being sort of small, it meant there weren't any problematic behavior at all. However, in the natural passage of time, plus KP's growth both as a series and its fandom, reaching its peak naturally meant the problematic side also jumped out. Question mark. That being said, what certain bad behaviors were prominent in the fandom in your experience as a longtime fan and consumer of the series, along with being a creator as a fan artist? Ooh, that is a deep question. Ricky, why are you making this so tough?
I mean, I can try and answer it first if you need some time to think about it.
Sure, go ahead.
Alright, I mean, back in the day, old-timey, when, again, Jin didn't exactly make much efforts to reach out to the Western fandom, I'm sure there was plenty of scanning, illegal, I guess, uploads of the manga, fan translations, people, I guess, spreading around unpurchased copies of the manga on its own, which, isn't exactly the most legal, was the only way for Western fans to actually know what's going on or to read. So again, there wasn't really much loss because they weren't trying to reach out to the Western fandom to begin with. But now that there's official translated manga and novels and an effort being made, these translations and uploads still continue, and whether or not that's a bad thing is really up for, again, debate. But it's complicated. Are these re-uploads really, should they still be allowed? Is that okay? Since, there's actual official merch that you can buy and actually support Jin with, and if Jin is actually making much of a profit out of it, or, having as much of a loss from it as some people think. I guess Jin being homeless at one point is like a concern for people because, you know, he makes really great stuff, and the fact that he was homeless at the time of, again, the anime was really popular is really a tragedy, and people just want to avoid that. But again, the Japanese fandom, again, is very big, so he probably doesn't have to worry about that anytime soon, but, you know, out of respect for Jin, I'd like to, you know, avoid doing that sort of things. But, yeah. It was interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's more that can be argued about how re-uploading, because back in the day there was no issue because it wasn't really everyone was just desperate for content, so I guess it didn't really cross anyone's mind that like what they're doing is kind of like, I guess, illegal in a way. But at the same time, there were no official translations back in the day, so we didn't really have a second thought about it. But now that's true. Because I know, like, there's still I'm not gonna drop names, but there's still, like, one Tumblr blog specifically that's still, like, posting scans and stuff. And I'm like, I mean, I applaud your efforts, but I'm like, you need to do that. But I'm not here to police anyone's activities on the internet, but...
I'm not here to spill tea.
No! It's just like, it's up to the person. I'm too old. Anyways, but what I remember being, like, a big deal back then, oh my goodness. It was like, I think this was the most vivid experience I had in, like, a fandom in terms of, like, having discourse, in quotation marks, discourse. Do you remember when, like, Shonen Brave PV, when the video itself was okay, Shonen Brave. So back in the day when Mekaku City V's was released, when all the videos when all the videos were on DVD, when all the music videos were all on DVD, there was an exclusive video which was Shonen Brave. And I remember half of the fandom was like, oh my goodness, this was like Christmas, I think. But half of the fandom was like, link, I need the link, where's the link? Someone posted, blah, blah, blah. And there was one certain Tumblr that had the link and had the video, but they were like, they technically made a call-out post to the whole fandom saying like, how dare you ask me for the link, kind of thing. Like, Jin wouldn't want you to upload it. Like, Jin wouldn't want this to be uploaded on the internet. You should support him, etc, etc. But...
Right. I guess I should probably summarize it for the listeners who have no idea what's going on. Jin... It was made clear that Jin didn't really want leaks of this music video to come out. It was only played live on this, like, on screens that were on certain Japanese streets, and again, it was clear that Jin was like, this is very exclusive. Like, it'd be cool if you didn't do the whole fucky wacky and let it leak. But you know, again, the English fandom was desperate because a new PV. It was about Seto. Good old Shonen Brave was a banger on its own. But like you were saying about the person who provided the link, while also criticizing people who clicked on the link, it seems kind of hypocritical, don't you think?
It's it's an issue that I like. I guess my personal take on it is, here's the thing. You can't really police anyone's actions on the internet. There's gonna be trolls, there's gonna be people who repost stuff, there's gonna be people who, you know, do illegal activities.
I'm reading the chat, and apparently Transparent Answer, my favorite song from the Kagepro series, it was exclusive before, and Jin was sad because a YouTube repost of it got 1 million views, which is, that makes me angry.
Yeah.
Poor Jin. He doesn't deserve that. Especially, like, again, that's the whole thing with, like, reposted art, and not, even if you credit them, some artists aren't okay with you reposting it to begin with, because, again, it's not directly at the source, it can be shared illegally, people can just copy and paste, you know, save the image, not just for personal use, but, like, using it in their own interest. It's a mess. So for me, now that, again, to answer the question of quote-unquote problematic behavior, I think the illegal uploads and scanlations are just, they kind of frustrate me now because there's actual official things out there, you know? I understand people being impatient and like wanting it now, especially since we're behind Japan by a whole 24 hours, but even now, people knowing that, again, the new album, remember the time like when everyone was like, Japan gets to listen to this album 24 hours before I do, and people looking for leaks and like uploads on YouTube instead of just, I don't know, waiting 24 hours to listen to it legally. That was not Japan. I mean, you know, like the English fandom. Just like, I don't know. It's messy. I'm like, please. I know that Japan gets stuff first, but like, you can wait. You don't have to like. You can listen to it legally on Spotify and like give Jin your support. You know, like, please, think about it.
Oh well.
Sorry, I went on a rant, but basically, I'm bitter.
They'll reap their consequences. I should not say that.
I suppose.
What was it? Okay. But what was the question that being said? Bad behaviors?
Other problematic.
Oh, yeah. Wait. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'm reading Ricker's
messages. Me too!
People theorize Kenjiro was a grown-up Hibia.
I forgot about
that was a thing?
Yes, it was a thing. It was so strange. I was like, no, don't ruin this for me.
Rochi, were you there? Did you believe in this theory?
No, I didn't. I did not.
Okay. It's so old, but it was so much. Children Record was the only thing you had. Oh my god. Okay, I can see that you did not. You clearly did not support this theory as you're posting shit Black Konoha. We didn't even have Kuroha. Oh my gosh.
Black.
Goth Konoha, maybe.
I love how everyone's like losing
maybe
their
people
mind.
Compared, like,
but yeah, that was an old
Black
theory.
Konoha with Black Red Hibia from Wanyanpun's PV. Oh man. When Kuroha was real, people went nuts because it was a joke. Oh man, when your origin was that you were a meme.
Wait, but for Kuroha, wasn't he like a fan-made character by Shiru? If I remember correctly? And then Jin just made it official?
Wow. Shiru really had more power.
I think that's what happened, but my history is not credible, so...
It's okay. That's interesting, though. I always thought Kuroha was already established in the series, but again, that was probably when... Dang, can you believe it? When your fan art is so strong, it actually becomes canon. That's some... Not even Wanyanpu could do that. Dang, son.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining, but I thought it was something like that.
I feel like there's probably a lot of theories that we'll probably never look into now that a lot of things have been confirmed, but again, I wasn't there for all the really wild theories that came about, though I'm super curious because, I mean, none of them were... Some of them are surprising, again, Hibia and Kenjiro, but I can't necessarily blame them because we didn't have much to go off of, and theorizing was fun. That's probably, again, one of the reasons why the fandom was so big at the time, because it was just one big game of theorizing, and, like, another theory was that Kano and Seto were the real villains the whole time. Oh my god.
Yeah. I do not even remember that one.
Really?
I don't remember that one.
Many people were upset. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess if people... I don't know if that's the case now, but if you like... People were very defensive of characters. I'll just say that. I was very defensive of Ayano, but now we're like... Hopefully people have chilled out so that we were like... We can approach it more casually and civilly, but...
Because when you look at it back then, we were young kids on the internet screaming out whatever we wanted to say. Like, there was no filter on us. It's just, yeah, I think it was just more of like an obsessive young nature back then. Because right now I can be all talking about it like, yeah, back then I was such a child or whatever. Because I was what? I remember like when I was, because I was 18 when I was like really into it. I think it was 2013. Yeah, 2013 when I was 18, and every time someone would ask me how old I was, I would reply with the lyric in Lost Time Memory. Like, yeah, so it's very cheesy, and I'm like, why did I do that? I'm not cool. There's like a lot of things that I regret doing, but at the same time, I look at it fondly too, in a way. So it's fun. It's fun to look back.
Alright. I'm sorry, I didn't hear this. You probably talked about it earlier, but you said you were comparing like the new fandom with the old fandom. Can you tell me what were some differences that you noticed?
I can't think. Okay. Back in the day, compared to this current fandom that I'm in right now, back then, right? Because right now I'm just basing it off like from what I see in the Discord server. But Ricky's comments are just like getting me. But back in the day, everyone was more how do I say it? Mob mentality, in a way. Because if one person would think something, like for example, one famous person would think something, and then their famous friends would think something, and then it'll get around in the fandom, and they'll all think the same thing. I think that was one of the it wasn't problematic, but it was more of like I bet there were certain people who were afraid to say certain things about whatever, I guess. I don't know.
Opposing opinions.
Yeah, opposing opinions. Yeah, definitely. Because
opposing theories. Gotcha.
That's just me based off the feed, like my Tumblr feed. Because to me, honestly, I was just doing my own thing. I never really interacted. Like, even though, okay, this is just me talking about my perspective in the fandom. Because Kagepro was actually like the first fandom that was like I was really into. Like, I noticed I was getting like notes on my artwork. I noticed that the following was getting really big back in the day, and I don't know, maybe because I was just so used to always being to myself and never interacting with anyone, I could only say what I've seen from my feed. But now that the current fandom right now, when I'm like interacting with other people here in the Discord servers, it's actually like really fun to like talk and hear other people's opinions, maybe because it's just a different mindset or something. So I feel like everyone's a bit more open in terms of sharing their opinions, or maybe that's just how Discord is set up. But because there's so much multiple channels and multiple ways that you can share your thoughts. But I don't know, I'm too new to be like know everything.
Here's my take, like that kind of.
Yeah. here's me, Rochi approved or something. I don't know.
Nice. Yeah, I have to agree. Then again, I didn't really do much or contribute much. All I did was reblog and like and put nice comments in the tag because I really liked your art, that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
But because your art was popping, still.
Oh gosh, back in the day. Ooh, no, please delete, please. I was laughing because I saw my first fan art. It was like I want to link it, but I have to dig for that. But it was like,
was it the one you drew of Mary?
No, that's the first Mary I ever drew, the one that I put on Twitter recently. But first drawing. The first digital fan art I did of
Shintaro.
No, shockingly no.
Oh.
Yeah, Shintaro didn't become my fave until later. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really care about him until
you.
Yeah,
not being a fan of Shintaro.
Nope.
Who are you?
I was a big fan of Hibiya. That was my first fave. Hibihio.
What?
Yeah, it was so bad. It was crazy. I would always draw fan arts of Hibihio. That was the first thing.
I never knew you as anything other than, oh yeah, they really like Shania.
Because I was such a big. I think when Shania took over, Hibihio became my second niche. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading the comments of.
You should probably read it out loud so listeners will know what you're reading.
So basically, Ready, Set, Go. I can't believe you still stuck with the same username. Brings me back. Like that shot in Kisaragi Attention was one of the earliest Shintaros. Everyone was like, who is he? I didn't even care about him back then. When I really cared about him was when Tomei Answer. That's when it hit.
And you're like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah, that was like also my first introduction to, maybe this really generic looking guy is worth paying attention to.
He's not. Oh my goodness, he's such a loser. I don't know why I had an obsession with him, but
a lot of people do, don't worry.
Yeah. Tomei Answer, that was it. That was the turning point. That's when I became like a huge hardcore Shania stan. And it was funny because Tomei Answer was out for a really long time, but I didn't watch it until like later kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, it was already out kind of thing, because I think I was still kind of listening to the songs. I didn't really listen to every song until, you know, Yobanashi Deceive?
Yes.
When that dropped, I was like, alright, I gotta watch every song. I was so late.
I can't imagine just listening and not watching.
I was so late.
Watching made so much more sense to me than listening to a bunch of Japanese I couldn't understand.
No, like, when I say listening, I guess, like, yeah, I would watch the videos, but I didn't watch every single video, you know? Like, because there was so much back in the day, I think. Or was there? I don't remember. I just think I was just lazy.
That's fair.
I don't know. I'm just trying to remember back then, but it's kind of hard.
So, what are your impressions of the fandom as of right now? Like, just as a general statement, is it? Are you enjoying it? Is it pretty chill? Is it nice to be welcomed into, to come back to?
Yeah,
that sort of thing?
I'm honestly still accommodating because maybe I'm just not used to, like, this is my first time joining Discord servers, so I don't know how everything works. But it's, I'm actually having fun. I like talking to people who are like as curious as me about the meta. Because that's my real issue right now. Honestly, I just came back to the fandom just to seek closure that I will never get. So
that's fair.
Yeah, that's me.
But yeah, I'm glad you're having a good time settling back in, and I'm really glad you're able to join us on this episode. I honestly weren't thinking that you would actually reply to my message, but you replied like fairly quickly, and I was surprised.
Yo, when
I was planning out this podcast. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
No. Because when you first DM'd me about it, I was just like, why are you asking me? Like, this is so weird. Like, I'm not worth the opinion, you know. But at the same time, I was like, I need to talk to someone about my feelings because I'm drowning in them. I'm drowning in Kagepro. It's so bad. Ugh.
That's fair. Yeah, because when I was planning out the podcast, I was like, okay, first I'm gonna ramble about Ayano, because she's the one I know most about. Then I'll cover something that everyone's familiar with, the anime. I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with the anime. And then I was thinking maybe I'll have a throwback episode talking about 2012 to 2014, but who do I know that was part of it? And then I saw that you came back into Kagerou, so I was like, opportunity, because I remember following you quite religiously around that time, so I was like, maybe if I toss a DM your way, you might see it by chance, and maybe even mercifully offer me like a minute of your time. Wow. And here we are.
Yo, I gave you like an hour and 30. So it's worth it. It was so worth it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm just like getting nostalgic. It's crazy like how different it was. It really is. Shocking it is that I came back in a way. But I'm glad that I'm back.
But yeah, it's nice. I hope you continue having a good time, and I hope I'm able to actually analyze the album soon so I can cover an episode of that. This is the last episode of, I guess the first season volume of the podcast, so hopefully there'll be more episodes. We'll see.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. I love listening to this. I love listening to this podcast.
Aw, you flatter me. But yeah, thank you for listening, everyone. I appreciate you all being here, even though 50% of it was just me and Rochi going, what? Or you cut off, or hey, what did you say? But yeah, thanks for listening. I'll edit out probably 30 minutes worth of us screaming over the mic trying to hear each other. Yes.
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
No, it's no problem.